Howdy folks, yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Today we're going to talk about the sugarcane spirit of the Caribbean. So this is on the back of a tasting that I did for Shelter Point Whiskey Club just the other week there, and we tasted 5 separate rums, but there was one which was kindly donated by one of the club members, and it was one of the most interesting alcoholic beverages I have ever consumed in my whole entire life. And I was so blown away by this rum that I thought I must share it with you guys out there and let you know about this kind of spirit, because it's just opened my eyes up to a whole new world of other exciting spirits out there. And when I was thinking about doing a rum tasting, I found this book here. It's called And a Bottle of Rum. It's a really interesting book, highly recommend it for anyone that wants to learn about rum. It's by Wayne Curtis and it takes you through the whole history of rum. And it's quite an interesting drink in terms of its origins. So back in the middle of the 1600s, all these sailors coming over to the Caribbean, discovering the New World and exploring, tons of adventures, lots of crazy stuff. And all those voyages were fueled by rum. But back in the day, it was actually called Kill Devil. So the first written references to rum were Kill Devil. And back in, the early 1700s, there was mentions of this drink that was suitably called Kill Devil because not a year passes by without it killing more than 1,000. So there was just huge consumption of this drink, and it was spreading like wildfire around those Caribbean islands. And it goes on to say about the origins of the word rum, which is the one we're more familiar with. And it could have been one of 3 things. So they think it might have been Latin, so it could have been derived from saccharum, as in terms of sugar. So the source of the alcohol being sugar. They thought, okay, saccharum, maybe that's where rum came from. Another one's a gypsy word, which means strong or potent. And it's quite possible, but one of my favourites is probably the British one, which is rum booze or rumfestation, is maybe the derivation of the word rum. And this is associated with rumbullion, rumbustion, and that's the kind of behaviour that we saw with rum. So a fascinating history of where this word came from, but the original expression Kill Devil is what this rum is called. And this is a single cask rum from Jamaica, and it's distilled in the Trelawny region of Jamaica, which is one of the areas of the world most known for its high ester rums. Really, really funky rums. So if you think about cheese that you may have had, or something that was kind of almost gone off but kind of delicious at the same time, and I think particularly of Epoise, that experience of really stinky French cheese where you put it in the fridge and your whole fridge stinks, and it's just got so much funk to it, but the flavours are incredible if you can get past the funk. So this is a real test of your funkability, and this is a 10-year-old single cask rum, bottled at 62.5% alcohol. It's one of 270 bottles, and it's from the Hampden Distillery. Now, as a Scot, Hampden rings true with me because that's the home of Scottish football, and I wonder if there's some connection there. Maybe the owners of this estate, which goes all the way back to, I think, 1753. Maybe there was a Scotsman who married a Jamaican woman, or the other way around, who knows. But you find that quite a lot in the Caribbean. There's actually quite a lot of Scottish names around, and it's one of the areas of the world where Scotland actually tried to form a colony in the Darien Gap, probably one of the most inhospitable places in the world, and as you can imagine, that venture failed pretty quickly. So this here is from the UK. It's bought by Hunter Laing. So it's independently bottled, and they've got this range of Kill Devil rums highlighting some of the amazing rums from around the world. Wow, I mean, like, even pouring it out of the bottle, I just got this blast of like huge funk, pineapples, apples, actually a lot of fruit salad sweets, if you know those sweets from the UK, just tons of like really ripe pineapple too. Massive cheese notes, notes of something slightly dead or gone off, but in the most delicious of ways. It's a funk that just fills the whole room. Like, if you leave a dram of this in your house, the whole house will just stink of it in about 2 days. I mean, wow. Really, it's such an interesting drink. It's just, I could imagine this pairing beautifully with some like Sardinian maggot cheese, perhaps. And part of the way they get such huge, high estery funk in this rum is they have a really long fermentation. And I recommend checking this out online if you go to the Hampden Distillery website and look at their fermentation area. And they do these really long fermentations from 8 to 15 days. And all the vats are just left open. And they're just bringing in all this wild yeast from the Trelawny region. And it's pretty much a spontaneous fermentation. I don't think they're adding any manufactured yeast. And you see these things bubbling over, and the smell in that room must be absolutely incredible. I would love to visit it someday. Go to the Hampden Distillery in Jamaica, because yeah, it must be quite a reek. So you get quite an acidity that's got a lambic flavour, like a sour beer or something like that. That kind of character is in this rum. So the longer you ferment for, the higher the esters are in the spirit. And we actually do this at Shelter Point as well. We have a really long fermentation. We do 7 days fermentation as opposed to a lot of Scottish distilleries, which are maybe 48 to 56 hours. So a longer fermentation creates a fruitier spirit, and yeah, you get a more acidic wash before you do the wash distillation as well. The interesting thing about these guys as well is they have I think 3 or 4 different stills. One of them is Forsyth's. There's like another couple of manufacturers as well, so lots of different stills, which probably creates different types of spirits and different complexity in the spirit. So this is almost like a copper pot distilled rum, not so much the column distillation style, which is probably more used by the mainstream rums like Bacardi and all those ones that are trying to achieve smoothness over flavour. This is just pure raw, nothing added, no sugar added to this. The new make comes off at 82% alcohol, so it's quite strong and just tons of character. Okay, now for a sip. Wow, holy moly. This has got to be like probably one of the longest finishes in rum. I think you could have a sip of this and it would still be there in 2-3 hours time. The flavour is just massive, absolutely incredible. Tons of fruit, tons of funk, cheese type flavour. Maybe some sock in there as well. But yeah, just incredible. It's like really just opened my eyes up to this high ester rum world. I used to think rum is just something you pour Coke in and maybe a wedge of lime and some ice and you sit on a beach, but no, this is like incredible. This is just as complex and interesting as any single malt I've ever had. So it just shows you how amazing the world of rum can be, and yeah, I highly recommend you go and check out a high ester rum. You probably won't find this one because it's probably long gone by now, just one of a few bottles left, and yeah, there's probably more out there, but have a look for a high ester rum. This one's I think £58 it was on the auction site that I saw. Only available in the UK. It's quite hard to find this kind of stuff in British Columbia, Canada, but if you search far and wide, or maybe the next time you're in the Caribbean, you might be able to pick one of these up if you're lucky. So that's it, everyone. That's Kill Devil, and check out rums. Let me know your thoughts of any other good high ester rums that you're aware of, and yeah, I'll join you for the next episode. Cheers.